keep you on the field this week? And just, is there something that maybe you got in a rhythm those first 3 weeks that was the route you decided to go?
Yeah, a little bit. I think that there's a comfort level between the quarterbacks, Dwayne and Tate and myself and some of the guys on offense, and it seems to be going well, so we're getting going.
How much of that has to do with the fact that you have a guy like Dwayne who's only got 3 starts under his belt, as opposed to JT, who had numerous starts under his belt when he was here? Does that play into it as well, having 2 young quarterbacks that are both going to play?
I think it just kind of happens organically, just in that I was on the field for the first 2 games. It's a comfort level now. We're in that routine, and we just don't want to change it. And I think they like it, and I kind of like it, so we're going to keep it going.
A well-known name in the sport of football. You're now a household name. I'm just curious. I know this isn't about you. I know you're a humble guy, but just your family, how have they enjoyed this? Or should becoming kind of a household name across the country?
Yeah, I mean, first off, Saturday night was a little surreal going through that. What a great atmosphere. It was almost like a bowl atmosphere just being there. So that was one of those experiences we look back on, having my family there and winning that game. That was quite an experience. But again, just proud to be here, proud to be at Ohio State. And again, it goes to show you what this place is and how powerful it is, and how fortunate my family and I are to be here, because it is such a great place, and we get to be around such great players and coaches, which is very unique, in college, to have a place like this where you are such a high-profile position. And it was just great to be around and see those guys playing so hard. But then, really, of all the things on Saturday night, the greatest part was coming out of the tunnel that first time and seeing the Ohio State fans that were going crazy. I mean, it was like you had chills all over you. I mean, tingling like in your scalp, like just to see those guys go crazy for us. And then after the game, same thing. Really cool experience. Something I won't forget.
The way Dwayne is playing, sorry. The way Dwayne is playing, I mean, he's playing so well. What has impressed you the most? It can be more than one thing, but what's impressed you the most about the way Dwayne has played?
Probably, again, his poise. There was a time where we were scrambling a little bit, trying to get into a rhythm. Couldn't quite get it going. Had a few balls on the ground. And, kept his poise, never panicked. We all hung in there. We didn't flinch at all, and we felt like had to get things going on track. But when you look at it, we almost had 300 yards of offense in the first half. We get the ball, sometimes backed up a little bit. I thought we did move the ball towards midfield pretty good and flip the field a bunch, so that was good. But I thought his poise was good throughout the game.
Right, is the party at your house this weekend? I mean, the $487 bump, $487,000 bump, excuse me. I mean, I don't know, how grateful are you for that? I mean, just how do you? Well, number one, how do you do your taxes? But number 2, how do you feel about that little bonus?
Well, again, being here is awesome, and what the whole administration of the university put me in this position, and I'm honored to be a part of it, and I'm very thankful for what they did. It means a lot to me and my family.
Where can this offense go from here, from the standpoint of y'all been over 500 yards every game? Obviously, I think you'd like to have been a little more efficient from a yardage to a scoring standpoint last week, obviously. But a lot of people are wondering where y'all can go from here from the standpoint. What do you see that's possible out there without giving away secrets?
I think just the execution level is going to continue to increase. We've got to capitalize when we're in the red zone. I think we got to continue to do a good job in situational stuff. What I mean by that is third downs, red zone, goal line, short yardage, backed up, all those situations that will come up as like they did in the game the other night. I thought we did a nice job, backed up. I thought we did a nice job in the 4-minute situation, eating up a bunch of clock in the fourth quarter, playing slower, understanding that. But I think as we continue to get into conference play and some close games, situational football will be very important.
Is it a little bit less stress on you knowing that you don't have to be the head coach on Saturday?
It's one less thing to worry about. The job of coaching the quarterbacks and working with Kevin and the rest of the guys on the offense is still a major task. It takes a lot of work, and when we get here early in the morning, we leave late at night. We never quite stop thinking about our job. So, it's our responsibility to make sure we're doing the best we can for these kids. And so it'll be the same this week.
Urban said that you are going to be on the sideline this week instead of in the booth like you were last year. How does that change the dynamic for you in terms of coaching in a game?
No, we just mentioned it earlier that there's been a comfort level there, I think, for the quarterbacks and myself calling it, being down on the field and in between series communicating. I do think that now, this week we'll be able to sit down on the bench with the guys on offense, with the quarterbacks, and discuss kind of what happened throughout the last series and make some in-game adjustments right there on the bench, where maybe the last couple of weeks I wasn't able to do that because I was kind of, you know, watching the defense or watching the special teams and making sure I was ready for that.
Game day especially, was it, what word would you use to describe being the head coach? Was it fun? Was it intense? What word would you use?
Well, if I could come up with one word, because I think every day it was a little different. Honestly, I mean, early on it was overwhelming, and then every day it became a little bit more normal. And then the focus was just trying to keep it going, keep everything going, so that when Coach got back, it was in good shape. So I think every day brought on a new challenge, and there were certain things that wasn't ready for, certain things I was ready for, and I think every day it was an opportunity for me to get experience in that role.
That 3-game run really does kind of cement, puts a real feather in your cap in terms of head coaching candidacy moving forward. Not that you fell into it, but you really thrived and made it work. Down the road, that will pay dividends, not guessing.
Yeah, but I think it's more about what this whole staff did again. And I know I've said that before, and you may be tired of me hearing it, but it's so true. I mean, this staff, I mean, they're almost all head coach guys because they manage their units, they can see problems, they're constantly communicating with the coaches, and during that time period with me, looking at problems, solving problems, looking around corners, and so it was a team effort.
Brian, can I ask one last thing just about I think you have a 3-year contract now, right, with Ohio State? Am I right about that? What? Did you seek that? Did they seek that? And how important it was for you? Because they've rarely ever given out multi-year contracts, much less 3 years and stuff. But I never got to ask you that. But why was it 3 year important to you, or was it Ohio State that made it important?
I'd rather not get into just all the details of all that. I appreciate the question, but I am obviously, my family is very appreciative of obviously what the administration has done here, what Gene Smith and everybody in the whole university, President Drake, has done for me and my family. Very humbled for that, and just proud to be here.
Urban said that he plans to be more of a game manager this year. How do you see that dynamic in terms of offensive play calling maybe being different this year than it might have been last year?
Well, Coach has got a great feel for the game and always had a great feel for the situation and the look and human spirit. And so that's been a huge part of this thing from the beginning. And Coach always had a great feel for the offensive balance that we have in terms of run and pass, and has a great mind for the offense. So his input's always very, very important. And so there'll be a lot of input as we go into the meeting room and input on the field during the game day and constant communications.
How would you describe, you think, that the level of faith that Urban has in you and Kevin and the offensive staff right now?
Well, I think that we've had some success early, but it's still a long road. And I think every day things go well. I think you get a little bit more faith put in you. But again, it's kind of the whole group. Obviously Kevin and I have been working together now for going on 2 years, and the whole staff together as a group on 2 years. But really talented. I mean, Coach Stud and Coach Alford and Brian Hartline now, and we have a bunch of young coaches who are really talented. So everybody kind of gets involved in it. And I think as a group, Coach believes in us, and he's a part of it too. So we're all in there together, trying to solve the problems and put the best product on the field.
Right, Ryan, you were thrust into a tough spot. So is Brian Hartline. What has impressed you most about him over these last 2 months?
His energy's been excellent. I think he has credibility with the players. I think they respect, when he says something, that he's been through it before. So energy's been great, and credibility's probably the second thing.
You think Austin Mack has regained his confidence this week after those drops during the game?
Yeah, I think so. We had a better Wednesday practice today than we did last week. Last week we put a couple balls on the ground. Today we were much cleaner. So I think that will hopefully project onto Saturday. But we're not going to give up on anybody. We're just going to stay positive, and we want those guys to be confident. And if a ball gets on the ground, we don't want that. But we're going to keep going back to him, and we did. I think maybe he put 3 or 4 in the ground, but then we kept going back at him again, and he made a play. And so we're going to work through those things, just like any other sport. There's going to be times where guys have a little bit of slumps or go through a couple of things, but you work your way through it, and we believe in each other. And I think the thing that was really cool about that was it was a group of guys, trying to get them going and talking to them on the sideline and encouraging them on the sideline, like, look, we got you, everything's going to be fine. I don't think you find that in a lot of teams and a lot of offenses, so I thought that was really cool.
Hey, Brian, I was wondering, what did you do for the hour between 11:45 and 12:45 on Monday?
I was watching film.
What's it been like just, this is what you've been doing. I'm sure it felt normal, but like, what's it just been like to adjust back to, having coach here and going back in your old role?
Just one or two things less to think about, and can spend a little more time with the quarterbacks. I think that they're starting to see that a little bit more time in there. A little bit more time focusing on just my meetings with the quarterbacks, individual drills on the field. Much more detailed and more prepared. When sometimes during the last couple of weeks, it could have been a little better probably.
So Dwayne Haskins has done this while his quarterbacks coach has been distracted. What's he going to do now that he's got you back full time?
We got some good guys around. Obviously, Corey Dennis, who does a great job. He's with them constantly as well. So it's a group effort. But like I said, now a little more time I can spend getting prepared for those meetings.
When Dwayne is pressured, what is the best? And every play is different. But ideally, would you rather see him try to run away from the pressure, roll, keep his eyes downfield, but get away from the pressure, stay in there and maybe try to use his body and shuck off a sack and make a play, or get rid of it?
It's a great question. It's a great question because there's so much that goes into that question. The situation, right? Is it first down? There are times in first down where if it's not there, just sail the ball away. We watch film all the time. When guys make mistakes, it's usually not when things are on time and things are in rhythm. It's usually when something breaks down and it's not the way we drew it up, and all of a sudden the guy tries to break out, create something, and then makes a foolish decision, turns the ball over. But then there are other times where maybe it's 3rd and 4. Even the third down where he scrambled, he almost got the first down. I thought that was good. He found an escape hatch and almost got the first down. Is it a 2-minute drill? Are we in the red zone? We already have points. So much of that is game management, and we don't like to take sacks. But there's going to be some times where he's going to have to take a sack. He's got nowhere to go. He's got to take care of that ball, and he can't turn the ball over because our plan to win, the number one thing is not turn the ball over. So it's hard. There's a lot of information to process there, and the more you play, the more you get a feel for it.
Hey, Ryan, I'm sorry if you've been asked this already, but it was discussed in Dallas a little bit after the game, but the zone read and giving and keeping, what's the ratio that you guys see on film of giving and keeping? It's probably, it's kind of hard to see which one's design run and which one's is read sometimes. And does he have to keep the ball a little bit more moving forward to keep the defense honest?
I think when a defense sees him keep the ball, they have to account for him. And if they don't account for him, then we pull it. And that's kind of what happened in that game. The end was crashing down hard. Kevin Wilson saw it on film. He says, now it's time to pull the ball. We got down there a little later on, and that end did crash. He pulled the ball, and he scored. And so anytime that happens, and I think a defensive coordinator sees that, they have to account for him. Once they account for him, job done. And so we're trying to be creative in how we do that, but as long as you're a threat, then I think a defense has to at least account for him.
When you say account for him,
yep.
Is that something that happens by seeing it on film in previous weeks, or do you mean account for him in a game? Is this a cumulative thing where every week he pulls the ball X amount of times, they've got to account for him more, or is it game by game based on how things are going? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I think sometimes in game, if they're loading up the box, then maybe there's an opportunity for them to pull the ball like there was in that game. But then I think also when you put it on film, when the defense coordinator makes a decision schematically how they're going to defend you, then they take into consideration how well he runs.
Ryan, how does that change things in the red zone for you guys when you don't have that? We know Dwayne is mobile, but he doesn't do what JT did. JT was special doing that stuff. How does that change how you can call things in the space you have in the red zone?
Yeah, anytime the quarterback can pull the ball, he's the extra guy in the run game down there. It does create one-on-one opportunities for the receivers. We had an opportunity early to kind of hit one. We didn't connect on it, but we got to be able to win those one-on-one matchups down there.
Brian, how close is Matthew Baldwin?
Very close.
Yeah. Any chance he plays this week?
Yeah.
Chicken off steal number 3 though.
Chug
or wherever you call him.
They're both kind of through right now. Yeah. Thanks.